Hey guys, how you doing? My name is John and welcome back to my NEStalgiaholic show. In this episode, I'm going to go over my top 10 Christmas movies. This that time of year again, one of my favorite times of year is Christmas. You get music, you've got a whole bunch of cool things, Christmas lights, Christmas trees, stuff like that, that remind us of Christmas. But one of those, of course, are movies. And so I wanted to go over my top 10 movie list for Christmas. And I encourage you guys to post comments below. Let me know what you guys' favorite Christmas movies are. There's a ton of them out there and a lot of good ones. And I couldn't fit them all on this top 10 list. This was actually really hard for me to put together because really any of these movies could go in any particular order. But we're going to start with number 10. And this is kind of an off movie that maybe people don't really think of associate with Christmas, but it's Die Hard. Great movie. It's the first one in the series. It came out in 1988. Bruce Willis. It's an action movie taking place during Christmas. That's why I'm including this. And, it's definitely, I think, my favorite in the series. It's classic, holds up really well today. So number 10 on my list is Die Hard. Number 9 on my list is a movie that came out in 1984. It's Gremlins, another movie that may not necessarily be associated with Christmas, but again, it's taking place during Christmas. In fact, a large chunk of the movie is taking place during the Christmas holiday. There's snow on the ground, stuff like that. And Gremlins, of course, is the first of two movies. Gremlins 2, I'd love to see Gremlins 3, but this is actually one of my favorite movies of all time as well, not just Christmas movies. It's PG or PG-13, I think, but actually it's pretty gory. I remember watching it when I was a kid, pretty young, and kind of being scared of parts. You have a Gizmo, of course, and you're not supposed to feed them, after midnight, get them wet, they multiply and they turn into gremlins. So, really good movie. I love the soundtrack to this particular movie as well. Definitely number 9 on my list. Number 8 on my list is a movie that came out in 1982. It is an animated movie. It's a short, though. It's 27 minutes long. And it's called The Snowman. And what's interesting about this animated movie is based on a book, a children's book with the same name, The Snowman. I love the animation style of this. It's almost like stop motion, but it's not. And there's no words in this movie. It's all just music. And it's about this kid who builds a snowman and has fun with the snowman, and the snowman basically melts away at the end. But really cool. I love the music in this movie, and the animation style is really, really cool. It kind of reminds me of Aha, Take On Me, whatever, that song, just a different animation style. It's really cool, though. So definitely check out The Snowman, and it's number 8 on my list. Number 7 on my list is a Disney movie. It came out in 1993. It's A Nightmare Before Christmas. This particular movie is done in stop motion. Really love the style. Disney has done other movies, Frankenweenie or whatever just came out, and that was done in stop motion, very similar. So this is the first movie kind of to do this kind of style, graphic style for Disney that's kind of based in this like dark stop motion, basically. But it combines two of my favorite holidays. It combines Halloween and Christmas, and it's a really cool story. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. I don't want to spoil the plot for you, but it's really well done, and it holds up really well today. The soundtrack is phenomenal. The story is really clever and unique, and it's definitely number 7 on my list. Number 6 on my list is a movie that came out 10 years ago, actually. It's hard to believe it's been that long. It's Elf with Will Ferrell. Basically, in the premise of the movie is he is an adult or a human raised by Santa Claus with other elves. He doesn't really realize that he's human, so he goes to, Earth or whatever, not Earth, but, the real world, and he basically he takes a while for him to figure it out, but it's really funny. There's moments in this movie that are just flat out hysterical. Will Ferrell is one of his best movies, in my personal opinion. It's Elf, definitely a great movie to watch during the Christmas season. Number 5 on my list is a movie that came out in 1990. It's hard to believe it's been that long. It's Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin. In fact, this has made Macaulay Culkin pretty popular for a while, and this is probably his best role that he's done. It's probably what he's known for. Basically, his parents is taking place in Chicago during Christmas time, and his parents go out of town on a Christmas trip, and they accidentally leave Kevin McAllister there at home, and basically there's robbers who try to rob his house and puts up different booby traps. Really funny, hysterical, and a lot of bits and pieces of Christmas for sure. Home Alone 2 is good as well. Lost in New York, it's a good film, and that's taking place during Christmas as well. And yeah, definitely Home Alone is number 5 on the list. Number 4 on my list would be considered a Christmas classic, 1947, Miracle on 34th Street. Basically, Kris Kringle, he tries to kind of prove that he's Santa. A lot of people don't think he is Santa. It's a very cool ending. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but he's put on trial, and he does something really cool. So it is a classic. It's one of those black and white movies, but it really touches your heart. It's an iconic Christmas film, Miracle on 34th Street. It's just a great family film to watch, and it's timeless. 3 on my list is a movie that came out in 1983. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be upset that I didn't put this number one, because I'm sure a lot of people have this as their number one. It's A Christmas Story. It's filmed 1983. It's taking place during like the 40s, 50s time frame. That's what I love about this movie, is that it's the time frame it's taking place. It's basically Ralphie wants to get this toy BB gun, and his parents are like, "You're going to shoot your eye out, kid." And a lot of funny scenes, anything from tongues being stuck to cold, ice poles outside, to other things like that. So really funny story. It's basically TBS plays it 24/7 every Christmas on the station, and it's hard to flip through channels this time of year and not see it. In fact, I read somewhere the other day that it was filmed in Cleveland. In fact, someone bought the house that it was filmed at, and he opened up it like as a museum. They have conventions for it every year. It's a huge cult classic. The only reasons it's not higher, to be honest with you, or the one thing that really irks me about this movie, it seems like every scene a kid is crying. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, because every scene a kid's crying, and I think it kind of gets overboard a little bit, and everyone looks like crybabies in the whole movie. But it's still, nonetheless, it's number 3 on my list, pretty high on my list, and it's A Christmas Story. I definitely recommend it. Number 2 on my list, movie came out in 1989. This is a movie I've seen every year from theaters to 1990 from on, and that's A Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's. Chevy Chase and the Griswold basically is Clark Griswold and his family, and it's part of the National Lampoon's Vacation series. So you had Vacation, there's European Vacation, there's Christmas Vacation, and Vegas Vacation. All are really funny, all are really good. European Vacation is kind of weird. It's weird in a good way. You'll see what I mean if you watch it. But Christmas Vacation is definitely best in the series. And it's taking place, obviously, during Christmas time. The actor who is in The Big Bang Theory actually plays in the movie, which is pretty cool. I can't recall the actor's name at the top of my head right now, but he was pretty young in the movie, obviously, 1989. Really funny. I mean, the Christmas night scene is really funny. My favorite scene in the movie is where they go up and do like sledding, and they spray paint, like not spray paint, they spray the bottom of like the sled, and they basically go flying down the mountain, and I think they crash into a Walmart, which is pretty funny. But definitely one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, for good reason. Definitely, it's my opinion, it is better than Christmas Story. Before I get to my number one, I want to say honorable mention real quick, because I do have to shout out a great series, and that is Christmas Carol. Scrooge. There's been a lot of variations of the movie. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies as well. It's just, I'm putting it as kind of an honorable mention because there's so many different versions of it. From 1951, the classic one, I think it was the first one that most people will realize, go to that. But there's ones that were made in the 80s, 90s. Most recently, a couple years ago, Disney made one with Jim Carrey, and then the Muppets have one. There's a lot of different variations of the Christmas Carol, based on the book by Charles Dickens. It's a classic, so definitely want to add that to my list for sure. Number 1 on my list, it came out in 1946, and that is It's a Wonderful Life. This is, to me, the epitome of Christmas. And when I watch this every year. It's black and white. It's a classic film. It's long. It's like 130 minutes. It's a pretty long film, but it really makes you appreciate your life, puts things in perspective when you watch it. And it's one of those tear jerkers for sure. And it's got one of those classic lines I think all of us know, is like, when every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings, right? It's classic. Interesting trivia fact about It's a Wonderful Life is going to Sesame Street, actually tying to Sesame Street, Bert and Ernie, really popular characters most of us know on Sesame Street, they were actually named after some characters that played in It's a Wonderful Life. I believe Bart was the taxi driver and Ernie was the bartender, or vice versa, or something like that. So the guy who created Sesame Street, Jim Henson and others, really loved It's a Wonderful Life and named Bert and Ernie after that movie, if you guys didn't know that. So pretty cool fact. But nevertheless, guys, if you haven't seen this movie, I really encourage you guys to check it out. It's timeless, holds up very well today, and there's no better way of watching it than classic black and white. Guys, let me know again what your favorite Christmas movies are. I appreciate that. Please, thank you for subscribing, commenting, and we'll see you guys soon, and Merry Christmas to you guys. Take care.